Welcome back. You're listening to Get Real. I'm your host, Bob Gallagher, and I'm joined in studio today by, frankly, a full studio. We have Karina Blanco with Ross Mortgage, Sarah Bear, also with Ross Mortgage, and Jasmine Ortiz, the founding president of NAREP and Keller Williams Realtor that does commercial and residential. Welcome to the show, everybody.
Thank you.
Thank
Good
you.
morning.
So we asked you to join us today, Jasmine, because you just launched a new chapter of NAREP in Central Mass. Can you tell us a little bit about it? Let's start with what NAREP stands for.
Sure. NAREP stands for the National Association of Hispanic Real Estate Professionals.
Mm-hmm.
And, as a national association, our major goal is to increase home ownership for Hispanics across the nation. And right now, Central Mass is experiencing an increase of population and demographic change. And we thought it would be the best thing for us to bring a NAREP chapter and to help our realtors and brokers and business partners in the region.
And what is NAREP's mission?
For sure. So the mission itself is to increase the home ownership population of Hispanics.
Excellent.
Mainly residential.
Right.
But we're also seeing people that are, a large small business population as well in the region. That are Hispanic and are also looking into the commercial space. But with NAREP, our major goal is to have sustainable housing and home ownership.
So it's not about just getting people into a house. It's getting people into a house they can afford long term. Absolutely.
And building community. Because
the
research shows that if you own in your community, in your neighborhood, you're more able to invest in it, right? And have more stake in it.
Yeah, absolutely. That's usually what you see when neighborhoods go from not that great to great. It's because people actually start buying up the property and living there.
Right.
Yeah, it makes a big difference. So why don't we talk about what the upcoming events are that you have for NAREP? Because you just launched recently, right?
Absolutely. We just launched in March. We had a fantastic event in the city of Worcester. It was very well attended. Our mayor was there, Joe Petty, and also Tim Murray from the Worcester Chamber of Commerce was there to support us.
Excellent.
Yep, it was a great event, and now we are officially a new chapter. We have our website up. We have all our social media up and running now, and we're getting ready for our next event, which will be in June 13th at the Bull Mansion.
Really?
Nice.
Excellent.
Now, Jasmine, I know that you had a great turnout with, your launching. How many members do you actually have right now?
Right now, we have 70 from the first launch.
Wow.
That are official. And we had close to about 200 people in attendance in our event. So we have a lot of business partners. And so we're expecting to double that for our next event. We're expecting to double that membership. And we're also expecting more business partners, as well as people are learning more about our chapter and our association.
Excellent. So what are your long-term goals for this chapter of NAREP?
The long-term goal is to grow the chapter to the point where it can sustain and provide support to our business partners, to our realtor members, our lender members, our insurance agents, our builders. I think once we become a very powerful business entity, we can advocate in our community. For instance, we also have interest in public policy advocacy for supporting politicians and business leaders that support our mission of Hispanic home ownership. We want to make sure that we're able to continue to work. Right now, we're experiencing a lot on the national level, on the federal level, where there may be some legislation that could affect whether we can even have an FHA program of less, than 20% down, as you know.
Yeah.
A lot of our clientele, most people can't put down 20%.
Yeah, there's not a lot of people that can in this day and age, and that's why, as a mortgage lender, we're coming up with a lot of really creative techniques, especially for first-time home buyers and even repeat home buyers that, are as little as 0% down, just to really entice the community to grow.
Right.
And why don't we talk about your board too? You have a whole board behind you at NAREP, right?
Absolutely. We have an 11-person board right now. Wonderful wonderful board. We have top producers on our board, from lenders, realtors. We have people that really have a great experience. We have someone that has his own real estate school. We have another person that is CE certified to do these trainings. And so we have someone that's a specialist in luxury, another person that specializes in 55 plus. So there's a range. And also we have several real estate attorneys who are bilingual, who are wonderful, also on our board. So
you've got everything covered from start to finish.
We have a very solid board of directors, and I'm very proud of everyone.
Excellent.
And we really are pushing as a team to make our chapter the best chapter in the nation.
Awesome.
In fact,
That is awesome.
And for people listening right now that might be interested in joining the group, should they contact you directly, or is there a website to go to? What's the best way to do it?
Sure. They can go to narup.org and click on Central Massachusetts chapter, or they can email us at centralmass@narup.org. And my cell phone, they can even contact me directly. It's 774-437-2503.
And that number one more time?
774-437-2503.
Okay. And the website and the email address, NAHREP, is NAHREP, correct?
Yep, .org.
Okay, good. Why don't we talk about the real estate market, which seems to be changing a lot lately? Where do you see it? Where do you see things going, especially in the Worcester market?
Yeah, and the Worcester market is, it's a very tricky space right now because everyone's talking about the shift, and, it's going to affect our lenders. It's going to affect us as realtors. But we're also experiencing a very unique point where, the Worcester market is increasing in terms of the commercial space and the development, with all these businesses and companies coming from the greater Boston area because everybody's getting bought out.
Yeah.
Right.
Or leased out because there's literally not enough space, right?
Right.
So everyone's coming out west here, which is good for us in our region. We're getting a lot of clients, even on the residential side, because companies are moving out here. So a lot of people need to buy homes.
Yeah.
All those workers need to come in this area. And also the companies are leasing out office spaces and business spaces, buildings. People are also buying out. You have also developers, buying out old industrial buildings and converting them into housing, which we do need. But we also have to be conscientious of making sure that there's also affordable housing, not just market rate. I know that, our association has been pushing for that. And I know a lot of the realtor associations in our state have also been concerned and letting our community leaders know that, we have a need for affordable housing. It goes hand in hand.
Right.
Because it affects our business.
Right. And to keep it affordable, I mean, one of the best ways to do it is to allow more building.
Absolutely.
I think that's one of the things you see happening in Boston, why the prices keep going up so fast, because they're not building to keep up with demand.
Right.
Yes.
We've definitely seen a shortage of building out in Worcester County, especially over the last decade. It's certainly picking up, but it's nowhere near the clip it needs to be at to satisfy demand.
Right. Absolutely.
So even though it does look like prices are going up, still compared to getting anywhere close to Boston, it's still a bargain by any stretch.
Honestly,
Absolutely.
and I see that in my market a lot. I have a lot of buyers, first-time home buyers from the Merrimack Valley that are realizing, well, I can't afford not even a condo in this area.
Yeah.
And they're shifting towards, Fitchburg and Worcester because they can actually afford a single-family house for the amount that they're pre-qualified for.
Yeah, and Lawrence and Lowell used to be great for that, for people just starting out, but now those places have gotten crazy expensive.
Crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's exorbitant.
My first house was the first house I bought was in Lawrence, actually. I paid $124,900 for it. I still remember that today. And I wondered how I was going to keep up with the payments on it.
Yeah.
And now that same house probably selling for $350,000.
Yeah.
Oh,
Easily.
Yeah. And the same thing with multifamilies. It used to be, that used to be a huge line of business for us on the lending side, is first-time buyers buying a 2 to 4 unit property because they'd have the income to offset the expense, which would allow them to build wealth over time.
Right.
Now it's tough to do that.
No.
Now it's tough to get. I mean, the investors all want the multifamilies, and they're converting them to condos. It's really getting tough to compete.
Right. I mean, we're definitely seeing a much more competitive space.
And that's happening in Worcester. I mean, I know the multifamilies are increasing rapidly
definitely.
out there.
I mean, on average for multifamily, you can get anything from 15 to 25 offers.
Wow.
I mean, every listing agent that I spoke with, including myself when I have listings, I mean, we're looking at multiple offers.
Yeah.
But you can still get a multifamily that's in, halfway decent shape from mid-threes, or has it gone above that?
Yeah, you can still get it.
Yeah.
You can still get it. I mean, it's tough.
But there's a lot of other people that want to get it too, is the problem.
Yeah, and you know, and those other people may have cash.
Yeah, which is, again, tough to compete with.
Yeah.
Or a bigger down payment.
Yeah.
Right?
Right.
Yeah.
Which makes it more attractive.
Yeah, certainly.
Yeah.
So where do you see housing going with all the development? I mean, we got the pot. Well, it's not going to be the Paw Sox. The Woo Sox coming. The Woo Sox coming to town. All that development going in around.
Yeah.
It's Kelly Square, I believe, right?
Yep. Kelly Square. They're almost done. Yeah.
Yeah. You got all these new restaurants, the new hotels. I mean, we were talking before the show today. I used to work down on Front Street back in the early '90s, and it's night and day compared to what it was.
Oh, absolutely.
Where are all these small businesses? Like we were talking about the Midtown Mall. Where are they supposed to go if somebody ends up buying that? I mean, you think people are going to get pushed to the outskirts of Worcester? They're going to get pushed further west?
Yeah. I think, it all depends on the types of developers that are coming in. There are developers that are, HUD funded. There are developers who are community friendly. And, we like those developers.
Of course you do.
We want, we like developers that don't push out our tenants out.
Yes.
And
Right.
And even our business tenants on the commercial space, they would like to stay in, most of those people.
Right.
And so I think, that's what we need to gravitate more, encouraging developers and investors to, yes, come into our community, but we also want you to invest in our community as well, not just buy the property, but, continue to sustain, because there's people that are working and, would like to continue. And again, it also affects our industry in multiple ways. But I believe that the shift is moving west at some point.
Yes.
Springfield's, you're seeing a lot of movement in Springfield. It's still wicked cheap. However, there's movement coming through. And I think a lot of it goes to hand in hand with what's going on in the political space in those regions, in the towns, in the city. What are their regulations looking at? What are their policies? How are you... how is your relationship with the communities of color? Are you providing sustainable options for them, or is it, just a one-way street? And
jobs too, super important.
Yeah, absolutely, jobs.
Yeah. So before we got started today too, Jasmine, you were talking about the shift in the market and what's coming, really right around the corner, and how people are going to prepare. What's the big shift that you see coming?
One of the shifts we're seeing is, again, a combination of lenders being bought out, bigger lenders with the small ones, more competition in that space, because now you're doing more on the buyer side. There isn't as many refinances as there were before, so you're seeing that shift.
Right.
We're also seeing on the realtor side is, where we have, we're still going to have an issue with getting enough listings. I mean, that's pretty much what it is.
Still a shortage.
Yeah. Building that relationship with builders. And again, a lot of this has to do with public policy. Is it, are the towns making it easier for people to build? Are the cities, are the states?
Well, the answer to that is a resounding no.
Yeah. So the quick answer is no. And so that's where you have to go and advocate.
Right.
So you have to know what's going on in these cities' council meetings. Are you going to the town planners meeting? That sort of thing. If you're an investor, you're a landlord, you should be there. You should know what's going on in your town. Whether it's here in Worcester, or Leominster, Fitchburg, or Westboro, wherever. You should know what's going on, because that definitely will affect our business directly.
Right.
Yeah.
And you were saying, too, businesses need to prepare for the demographic change out there as well, right?
Absolutely. According to our Hispanic Wealth Report, You know, we are the new 50% of the new clientele will most likely be Hispanic clients. And I'm seeing both, you know, Latino brokers and lenders and my monolingual American lenders and realtors, you know, struggling with these, you know, with the population. They need those resources and support. And so that's what we're here for.
Right. And one of the things we were talking about, you know, for anybody listening is, and I guess it really doesn't have anything to do with demographics. We're finding that a lot of first-time buyers, especially people that have moved here or that are immigrants, have an issue with putting, I shouldn't say an issue, but they're not really fond of putting their savings in a bank.
Right.
And that presents an issue because, of course, you have to be able to document where the funds are coming from.
Absolutely. And we see this a lot in first-generation buyers. We see this a lot in immigrant communities. But, we also see it in a lot of American communities where they don't trust banks.
Yeah.
You know, this issue of trust is major for them, where you see people not putting their money into bank accounts.
Right.
You know, they'll have checking accounts, right?
Right.
But they won't put their money in their savings accounts.
Yeah, their savings. Yep.
Which is why home buyer education becomes so important, because you need to do this stuff months before you actually start looking at properties.
Absolutely.
And that's one of your goals with NAREP, right, is community education?
Absolutely. I mean, that's so important for us to educate our clients, educate our community members, educating, and also, giving those skills and training to our members as they're out in there on the street in the communities, door knocking or doing, whatever lead generation techniques they're doing out there. Be conscientious that, a lot of people don't know, what the first steps are. And we'll be asking you questions, and you need to know how to answer that.
Right. Excellent. That's about all the time we have today. So I'd like to give out your contact info one more time. So if you're listening right now and you have questions on commercial or residential real estate, or you'd like more information on NAREP, feel free to give Jasmine a call. Her number is 774-437-2503. One more time, that's 774-437-2503. Thank you all for joining me on the show today.
Thank you, Bob.
Thank you, Bob,
for
Always
having
a
us.
pleasure.
You're very welcome. And we're going to take a quick commercial break. We'll be back with more Get Real after this.